John Tillery, the man, on the podcast.
How you doing?
Hey, do they have these in your parts of Georgia?
What's that?
Podcasts.
Podcast? No. We got walkie-talkies.
Y'all are still on, what was the thing, CB radio?
Yeah, CB radio.
Yeah, you guys get on at night and lay around the living room?
You got to have a good nickname.
Yeah.
Handle.
Yeah, what would yours been?
Oh, God. I don't know.
Probably something redneck.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Little Red or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Little
good.
Red.
I think about you with all the
that.
success that you've had and all the players you've taught and growth. We were talking earlier today. We're not going to mention names, so this is not about that. But you said something earlier today about, we were talking about players that have fired us or that we no longer work with and the learnings that happen.
Right.
There's so many instructors that look at where you are and they go, I want to be John Tillery. I want to work with how many tour players?
6 now.
6 now, okay. Players done extremely well.
Put me on the prayer list.
Put you on the prayer list. But you're a guy who often gets called in when a guy's not in their best way.
Yeah.
Okay. When it doesn't go well, how do you manage that?
Yeah, I think that you have advantages and disadvantages.
And by the way, don't be intimidated by that.
Yeah,
right
I see
there.
that.
Yeah,
Big burly stud over my shoulder here.
Good?
Yeah,
that's good, isn't it? Okay.
But you have an advantage and a disadvantage. I think when the good thing about when you get a guy, some of the people I've been successful with have been beat down, broken down, and they're blank canvases, so they're ready to learn, and a lot of them to some extent haven't. The ones I've been more successful with don't have a ton of previous experience or success to pull from. So as soon as they start getting a little better, I think that relationship and that trust grows, and they're really more willing to buy into a process than, hey man, I used to do this, I've done this, I've done that. This is my name, that's my name. Come sprinkle some fairy dust on me, and I want to get better, and I want to see some big results change, but I don't want to change much about how I do things. And I'm not great in that situation. I'm not wired that way. So I enjoy the projects, but it is tough because, you need that time. You need to invest a bunch of time in them to break some of that stuff, but I'd rather have that than the –
So when I look back at probably the core of your stable over the years, Scott Brown, Kevin Kisner, who was your first?
Yeah, Brownie was the first guy that kind of took me under full time out there. I'd had some other guys that had brought me out here and there, and then Brownie was the first guy that became a big part of what I did for a living instead of sort of a supplemental part of it. And then Brownie won, I guess that was like 2013, Brownie won Puerto Rico a few months after we started working together, and kind of got his career going. Him and Kiz obviously live same golf course, same town. So I was down there a lot with him. Kiz kind of struggling.
Where was Kiz at that time?
Kiz was also on the web at that time.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that was the year he had made. I think he was on. He did it on and off, and then. But he was kind of in a tight spot himself, and then I was down with Brownie working a good bit, and we're playing, and Brownie's getting better, and he's so competitive. He's getting so pissed that Brownie's beating him, and. So anyway, he called me one day from a web.com event, I think, and hiding behind the water cooler, trying not to get in trouble, and texted me and flew down and saw me and kind of took off.
Because he was at a pretty rough spot.
He was, yeah.
So when you have a player that walks in like that, what emotions does it bring out as a coach?
For me, it's almost exciting to me because, like I said, you have their attention from day one. There's no selling yourself. It's like, bud, you need me more than I need you. And that mentality is not what you get a lot with a tour player that's had a lot of success. I often I'd hear people a lot of times on tour say, so-and-so's letting so-and-so work with them. And you used to always rub me wrong. It's like letting them. We pour a lot into, sure, if you do good, you can make some money if you help people play well. If not, it's not going to be very good. But you pour tons of time and energy and effort and stress behind the scenes. These guys don't see. We take time away from our family, not near as much as they do, but we're obviously not playing for what they're playing for. Yeah. But I enjoy it, like I said, because everybody's all in on day one and they're ready to learn. And I just think I coach better in that scenario when we're kind of in this fight together and there's no this obvious kind of hierarchy of who's important.
Who are your influences when it comes to that for our listener? I mean, I have a pretty good idea, but
as far as
how you go about working with athletes?
Yeah, I've had a lot of, I've worked with everybody that was a good teacher when I was coming through high school, college, playing. So I learned a ton from, I'd say, guys like Mike Adams helped me learn a lot on, hey, here's somebody in front of you, pick the fastest thing out, grab something and go help them. Scott Hamilton taught me how to not take yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
And go throw out what you think and don't worry about what other people think about you. VJ Trelio is one of my really good friends. Him and Tim both. I think I've learned a lot from them on the processing, how to kind of manage putting a plan together for people. So I think I've probably tic-tacked a lot of.
What do you look at from other sports? Like, who have you learned from looking at the way other coaches coach?
I'm a big Georgia fan, and so I've been
Ray Goff.
Yeah. So I've been able to go to practices with, gotten to know Kirby, and one thing with him and that culture, you've seen the makings of that behind the scenes, but it's always interesting to me how hard the tough love, how hard they are on them. And it's like, I can jump you, but nobody else is going to jump you. If you jump my guy, then I'm going to jump you.
Yeah.
So how they push them and hold them accountable and are so tedious to the details in practice, but then when it comes closer and closer to performance, how much they're aligning with them and just there to help them and support them and kind of keep them between the lines and kind of blend in that. How hard do you push them? When do you push them? When do you listen to them? When do you fuss back at them? When do you love on them? That balance, I think I've learned a lot from him and some other football coaches.
It's a fine line, though, especially when you got a bruised animal coming in to see you, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It is. It is a fine line. But like I said, I think
it's a brilliant line.
Yeah.
That's my whole philosophy. So the brilliance of that is to be able to take somebody who's hurting and to do something with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then to also, as that evolution of their player dynamic with you changes, is to then go in on them when you have to.
Right. And I think early on with those, you're kind of slowly gaining trust, right? It's like you're loving on them, kind of trying to understand the situation first, explaining more things to them, trying to get everybody caught up, get everybody on the same page on this is what I think, this is why, this is what we're going to do about it, this is what this means, this is what that means. And the faster that those two worlds start aligning, then I can start pouring on the gas.
Yeah. Where do you want to see the golf industry? Because there's so many people here. I mean, we're at the open forum, and the kind of open forum was kind of created by a lot of bitching and moaning and fighting and fussing.
Right.
Is that good?
I mean, I think conversation is good, debate's good. Having a lot of smart people that can get together and talk and learn from each other is good. I don't think, and there's a lot of here where I jump off is when egos jump in, and for me, with majority of what I'm doing with guys at the highest level, there's just no room for it, right?
There's enough for everyone too.
Right.
I mean,
more than enough to go around.
Yeah, it's
so I don't really have any room to have an ego. So I want to surround my guys with people that can help us. So then there's not a slot cut out for you to have an ego or think you're important or that this guy's dumb. So I get kind of pushed back when people ask questions purely for the reason to start a fight.
Yeah.
And then probably the same for people that hold back purely to not either share or to not start a fight.
Yeah.
That's probably the parts that I hate.
What would you recommend young teachers, young coaches who want to get in the industry and they want to be something and they want to make a name for themselves? Because technology's made it so that, hell, anybody can see what you're seeing.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying that in a bad way, but, I can see a certain swing, mechanical gaffe or inefficiency.
Right. I think this market, it's like you were saying, there's so many people here, right? It's like this space gets so much more flooded than even however long ago in recent memory here. So many young instructors and so many people that are all fired up, and it's awesome, don't get me wrong. But it's getting more and more in vogue, more and more popular. People are all into it. And I guess for sure, keep digging, learn. There's never been a time where there's more and better information out there. There's not a lot of excuse to not have a pretty good handle on what's going on as far as just a golf swing. There's obviously a whole lot more to it than the golf swing. But I think that my biggest advice for guys would be to learn a lot, everybody you can, but, find something and embrace it and develop it and kind of find your niche. One thing I've kind of learned the hard way is just there's not enough of you to go around to please everybody. And the thinner you try to spread yourself, the more average you become at everything you're doing. So as far as the business side of it, who you're coaching, who you're teaching, who your prospect is. So
how do you handle the family side?
Well, I spend a lot of time at home. I spend a lot of time with my boys. I got 2 boys, 7 and 8, and they're obviously way more priority than.
Which, by the way, that video of your son should go viral.
Which one? There's no telling which one.
The one where he hits the shot and he's mad.
Banging the bag.
That is maybe the most son of an instructor, upset about a shot, turns and is, with nobody paying attention, is just beating this bag to death.
Yeah, he's Huck Finn with an attitude problem.
It's awesome.
And the other one, last time when I try to work on the other one, he's like, well, when I do it my way, it does better.
Okay.
So I told him he could be a tour player.
Does it his way. He's going to do it his way.
That's right.
Yeah. What do you where do you want to see the industry in 5 years?
Whew, man, that's a deep question, Brett.
You're an influencer. That's why I'm asking.
I think that what we're starting to see is, well, I guess I don't know if it's what I want to see. It probably is what I want to see. I hadn't really thought about what I want it to become. But what I do see is the information's so good. People keep learning more and more. So there's a lot of general kind of givens that are sort of getting out here, right? So it's like at some point, we're going to keep fine-tuning. There's the earth-shattering, this is the most efficient way to do this. This
is the only way you should move.
Right. So I think that over time you probably see and probably should see people kind of coming together. They don't have to be saying the same things, but the coaches, the teams, families of ideas, kind of buddying up, partnering up, because it does at any level. Everybody's great or has the ability to be great to help the members at home. But when you start talking about really developing a player, it does. It takes a village, and you can't do it on your own. So I think you're going to see villages kind of popping up everywhere. I hope.
Yeah.
So it's like they can just be our neighbor. We don't have to try to burn their house down because they're saying something different.
We don't have to lob flaming rocks at them.
Right.
We can be pretty powerful by ourselves.
That's right.
Awesome. See you in first class soon?
We'll see. Working on that upgrade, like that McCabe status.
No, you don't upgrade. You've got the greatest story ever. It's like, look, do the math. It pays for itself to upgrade.
Yeah, it does.
The pain. People don't understand when you're on the people who listen to this who travel all the time get it.
Yeah.
But when you're sitting in 37F, the stress level of that flight is significantly higher than 1B.
Correct.
Yeah. It pays for that.
It pays for it, yeah.
All right, man. Thanks for your friendship.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for being around.
Thanks for having me.
You got it.